of a team I had at Oregon with Aaron Brooks, where we had 10 games that kind of came down the wire. We put the ball in his hands and win the game, and I think 8 out of 10 he either kicked it away or threw it away. And we came back the next year and had 12 games at the wire, and in 6 out of 12 he hit the shot to win the game. The 4 of the other ones he made the right play. That's the difference between one year to the next. It's very difficult for this group because they're a little bit frustrated right now in terms of how to close games. You're right there at 72, and all of a sudden we turn the ball over. We probably need to give Malachi a little bit more of a breather. Playing 40 minutes, I thought he was really fatigued down the stretch of the game, which probably led to some of his turnovers. But 18 turnovers to give up 34 points, and you're not going to beat a lot of people. And not only giving up the 34 points, it's the fact that you allow them to shoot 70%, because those are just open court layups that we couldn't even defend. And I thought we were pretty good defensively when we had them in half court against one of the better shooting teams in the country. So for us, it's frustrating. I think it's frustrating for fans as well too. But we're going to keep teaching, and people continue to talk to me about they need to gain experience. That experience needs to come this year. They need to learn how to close out games this year, because it'll make it easier on them next year. We can't wait, and we don't need to wait. Still a lot of basketball to play, but we're figuring out some things defensively that's going to allow us to play a little bit tougher over there. Now we got to take care of this piece of it, and that piece of it again is just taking care of the ball a little bit better, particularly at crunch time when you fought so hard to put yourself in position to win a game.
Malachi kind of put the loss on himself, 5 turnovers, but at the same time 22 points. How much of it was on him, and do you think it was more of a team-wide thing today than just one guy?
You know, when you're out front and you have the ball in your hand as the point guard, I mean, you're the leader of attack on offense, you're at point of attack on defense. That's why that position is so critical. I think if anything, he will understand how difficult it is to play 40 minutes. Milan was a little banged up, but Malachi needed a little bit more breathers in that, a few more breathers in that game. I don't think he would have turned it over coming down the stretch. But the 40 minutes, I thought, wore him down, particularly against that type of quickness against those senior guards that he was playing against, who at times had a breather or two in the game. But yeah, I appreciate him putting that on him, but a lot of it has to do with being fatigued and the experience of those 3 great guards they have over there.
Kind of another game where their big guy gets a lot of inside looks. Last game it was 8, and this game it was White. How do you guys contest that better and make it harder for those guys down in the post?
You know, that's difficult to do. You kind of pick your poison with Arizona State. You could have zoned a little bit more and taken away the big, but it was really the 3-point shot really to focus on taking away, because they shoot it so well. There were probably 3 or 4 situations where one of our newbies and Carter Skaggs went to sleep over on the weak side over there waving at his mom or something, and didn't rotate over to take out that big guy rolling. And that again is the experience of a new guy in the moment not doing his job. But certainly they're going to see on tape again where we had opportunities to shut down. Now, we weren't going to shut down White, but we certainly could have limited his scoring with a little bit more weak side rotation, and we got beat on 3 or 4 of those plays just by Carter not rotating over.
Earlier this year, you said you never get 2 up or 2 down. Teams frustrated. How do you as a coach deal with maybe some of those frustrations with the closing at the end of the game?
I think the important thing for them, and I've told fans this all the time, this has been a tremendous building project of selling the students, the community, your players, everybody on revamping, re-energizing this program and everything. And the thing that the players need to understand, that I understand, is that, again, this is a season. This is not your career. It's not their careers. It's a season. And it's a season that they have to grow in and learn in. This whole team comes back next year with the exception of Drake. So you bring back the top shooting team, I should say, in the conference, and one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the nation. You only have to look over the mountains where Washington won 2 games last year, and that whole team is back playing again, and look at where they're at with a year of experience. So the thing, though, is to keep demanding and keep teaching and keep having them grow. Yeah, it's frustrating. They're young people. There's a lot of you in the room that tend to want to point fingers, make excuses, point to blame, but we continue to put our arms around them and bring them back. The thing they've done a good job of, they continue to come back. I thought their energy was great in the game. They followed the game plan. They played hard. They battled. They just crumbled again at crunch time when it was time to close out the game. We didn't close out the game. So I can stay positive with that, because I'm not saying we don't have the talent. You're not saying team has quit on you. You're not saying you don't have good game plans. All that stuff is in place. It's about gaining experience. And my job is to continue to teach them, help them understand really just how to grind that day to day, week to week, month to month, season to season, that you grind through stuff until you figure it out. You don't quit, you don't make excuses, you don't go the other way. So you will continue to see us be very demanding. Our standards are extremely high, maybe higher than anybody's in the room in the community, because my standards are set at Pac-12 championships. And people laughed at us at Oregon when I said that, and I'm so sure people laughing at us here, but we're going to keep building and keep demanding.
And then just kind of the rotation shuffling with Drick, was that just kind of a matchup thing, or?
It's very difficult for Drick because he's got a bum knee, and he had some had to sit off. He really doesn't practice at all. He goes from game to game. In between it, there's a lot of treatment. So the timing, he gets knocked off a little bit. You see him missing all those little chippers. That's because he's not practicing every day. He's just jumping into the games, and all of a sudden the energy and the pace of the game speeds up. So we're fortunate enough that we can get him ready for the games. But to think we're going to have him for practice in the games, it's hard to do. I feel like Jeff was a better start in this game because of all the ball screens that those quick guards are coming off of, just to get us in rhythm a little bit. And I thought we did a good job defensively in this game to really lock up the ball screen offense that they run. What? Oh.
I didn't have the microphone yet. Malachi Flynn in the first half had a bit of a hard one, 1 for 6 field goal, and then the second half completely demolished and got 19 points second half. Can you talk a little bit about the adjustments that he made from the first to the second half?
Well, the adjustments were we put him more in the ball screens and put him up top and got people out of the way. And I think with Malachi and Milan, they're particularly with Malachi, his body type is not there yet to take the pounding that he has to take from an opposing team's big as we put him in the ball screen. And he continues to play east-west, and you can't score that way. We made some adjustments with him to get him going more north-south so he could go score going downhill, and we made the adjustment. He got past White and got to the hole to score. So that was the biggest adjustments, is just the angle of the ball screen that gave him more opportunity to get out and score. Good question. Pink camera, no question? Okay.
Ernie, what kind of problems does Remy Martin cause for ball handlers?
We've watched so much tape on them, and the number one thing we told this team, outside of the two great senior guards, was the fact that Remy Martin disrupts play, and he does it at both ends of the floor. He's an energizer bunny that comes into the game, and he has the ability to change the tempo of the game at both ends of the floor, because he disrupted our guard. I thought he's the guy that won the game or turned the game in their favor, because he took the game away from our point guards with all the steals, and then he gives you that energy on the offensive end too. So he just takes them to another level of play with this energy that he brings onto the floor. That's a nice weapon to have to bring off your bench, that you need a spark or you need a turn in the game, whether you're down or right there even or closing it, and he's the guy that's able to do that. That was very impressive, the way he dominated the game down the stretch by himself. And when you do it on the defensive end of the floor, that tells you that's a special player. There's a lot of guys that can do it offensively. There aren't a lot of guys very similar to Thibault in Washington, that defensively they can control tempo of the game by what they do on the other end of the floor. That was impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.